Hey guys, what's up? This is Nick coming at you with another video on how to improve your trading. This is being put together pretty quickly, so I'm just going to go through a lot of points in once. Essentially, this video is on how to focus on process to become a profitable trader. The reason I'm making this video is I've just finished watching and kind of a little bit participating, I guess, in a live stream that Russell put out on his channel. I'll put a link to his channel down below if you're interested in his trading journey. And being honest, I've been trying to get through to him for the past 3 months that he needs to work on his process and ignore sort of like trying to make money for the time being. And I think maybe today we finally got through to him. And I shared with him my journey on how I essentially picked up a brand new strategy on something I'd never traded before. I'd never traded futures before November of last year, and it's currently the start of March, so a few months. Picked up a brand new strategy, backtested it, paper traded it until I was at a point where I was 100% certain that I was trading it accurately enough to make money from it. Then became a funded trader. I became funded 3 times. I've got 2 active accounts right now. You can find out all about that journey on my other ones, on my other videos. And I did it easily. And I'm going to go through how I did that and really just to give Russell a little bit more background information on what he needs to do in the coming few weeks. So let's start back. Let's sort of like zoom out for a second and think, what are our long-term goals as traders? Now, the aim as a long-term goal is not to make $1,000. Okay? Now, Russell knows why I've put this in here. But it's actually the same for my trading buddy who will tell me now and then, it's like, oh, if I win this trade, my account's at 6K. Is it 5K, it's 7K, whatever it is. And I'll repeatedly say to him, the goal isn't to get your account to 6K. Your goal is to make hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars of trading. That's the long-term goal. When you focus too much on the short-term profit, the long-term suffers. And a really easy example of this might be you're in a trade and you cut it early. Okay, you cut it early to lock in some profits. Yes, I've made some money on this trade. Awesome, on to the next. But in doing so, you're cutting down your overall risk rewards if you do this every single trade. And you might have a strategy that works 50% of the time that gives you a 1 to 2, right? Which means that your 50 winners make you 100R, 50 losers, you lose 50R. It's a plus 50R strategy. But if over time, because you're looking for that profit, you cut that, cut it down to say 1.3, 1.2, your edge gets smaller and smaller and smaller. And if on top of that you have a few other mistakes, you're like, oh, there's potentially, this isn't, you might have a situation, this isn't my strategy, but I can see that this is ripping, I'm going to take it, and you take a loss, you very quickly turn that profitable strategy into something that isn't making money. And the whole point of it, the whole reason is you are looking at the short-term profits rather than the long-term goal. So just take a second to ask yourself, what is your long-term goal, right? Do you want to become a millionaire trading? Do you want to make a living out of trading? Do you simply want to have something that you can do alongside a job and make an extra 10, 20, 30K a year? But what is your long-term goal? And I would imagine that most people, their long-term goal, if they're into trading, is they want to make a living out of it. They want to make, 50, 60, 70K minimum a year. Have goals of maybe making hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars. Now, how will that become a reality? What do you need to look like to do that? And now the answer is always, not also, is always going to be focus on the process. You need to be trading at an absolute peak level all of the time to be able to make that dream or that goal a reality. If you sort of think about it, if you take your strategy, you know that it makes money, you know that roughly the win percentage is say 60%, the risk reward is 1 to 2 if you execute it spot on, right? If you take the next 50 trades exactly as your strategy says, where are you going to be at? As long as you have a profitable strategy, there's a very, very high chance that you're going to be very, very profitable. And if the next 50 trades are the same, and the next, and so on and so on. So that's what we're aiming for. We're aiming for 50 trades that are exactly as your strategy tells you, right? And and then another 50 trades, and then another 50 trades, or you could pull that down. Next 5 trades, exactly as your strategy says, and then another 5 trades, and then another perfect trade, and another perfect trade. Doesn't matter if it wins or loses, as long as it executes it exactly as your strategy says, you're going to make it. So now you need to create a process to make it as likely as possible to achieve this. And it's not going to happen overnight. You're not suddenly going to go, oh, I'm just going to decide to trade perfectly now. That's the same as somebody who's never really played basketball all that much going, you know what? I feel like I'm going to go and play in the NBA now. I'm just going to make every 3-pointer. Doesn't actually work like that. I wish it did, but it doesn't. So how can you achieve this? You need to focus on accuracy. You need to find performance weaknesses. You need to forget about profit in the short term. And we're going to look at even trading paper money for a month to get to a point where you're trading at a high degree of accuracy. 80% plus is what I suggest. It's far better than just trading day by day looking for profit. You don't have to paper trade. You could say, okay, you know what? I'm used to trading 10 contracts. I'm going to cut it down to 1. But I always say, if you're at the start of this process, you might as well paper trade. Why not? If it's only going to be for a week or 2, 3 weeks, fine. So first of all, focus on accuracy. What I suggest for this is when you have your spreadsheets or however you track your trades, don't just track the profit and the loss, also track the accuracy. Okay? So what does this look like? I've just brought up my journal just for the sake of it. What this looks like is this. I've got a column here that shows my accuracy. I've given myself a 1 if I've taken a trade that is exactly how my strategy dictates it, or a 0 for when I potentially miss a trade, or if I take a trade that isn't in line with my strategy. More often for me at the moment, it's because I don't take a trade because I missed a trade. Right? This is March. I'll bring up February in a second as well. I give myself an A grade if it's perfect and a B or a C grade if it's a mistake. A B is a brand new strategy error that I haven't been aware of before. A C is, you know what, I've made this mistake before. And you can see that currently in March, I'm trading at an 81.8% accuracy. And in February, I traded at an 88% accuracy. And if you got out rid of that first week where I was trading pretty poorly, it's probably even higher than that. And if we go back down to, where are we at? This is January maybe. If we go back to sort of like the point where I got funded, I was trading an accuracy of 66%. So you can see that over time, I've got better and better and better, and that's what you want to be looking for. You don't just want to be going, how much money did I make on this trade? How much money did I make this month? Track them as a 1 if it's perfect, a 0 if it's non-perfect. If you've made a tiny little mistake, if you're like, you know what, I got out of this 2% earlier than I should have done, right? It's moved 100 ticks in my favor. I got out for 97. Maybe give yourself a 0.9, okay? But you want to track how accurate you're being. Now what this does, it focuses your mind each day on better trading. So it means that before you take a trade, you want to think to yourself, hang on, am I going to be able to give myself a 1 on this trade? Am I going to give myself a 0? The best feeling in the world for me right now is when I put a trade into my journal before, so with my strategy, I can enter a trade and then it will get hit. So I can say, okay, I want to get in, and it will trail the entry based off of a moving average. And what it means is that I can begin going and putting some of the data into my journal. And I love it when in my journal, I'm like, I know that this is a 100% perfect trade. So I'm going to put a 1 there already. I've done my job. As a trader, I have done my job. I've executed accurately. Ask yourself before you trade, is this going to be a 1 or a 0? It actually focuses you. You're going to make a small improvement immediately. More importantly, it's going to show you where your performance is actually at. Are you at 20%? Are you at 40%? Are you at 80%? Most traders I have worked with, I look at their stats and we go, you're kind of trading at a 30-40% accuracy rate. Back before I did any of this sort of stuff, I looked at my old journals, I was trading at a 25 to 30% accuracy rate. It's not a surprise that you're not making money if 2/3 of your trades are not in line with your strategy. Knowing where you are is incredibly important, because you're going to be able to see how much you need to improve by. It'll also show you exactly where you're making mistakes. So you don't just go through and say, oh, I made money on this trade, I didn't make money on this trade. You actually go, this trade, I made money on it, but it was a mistake. Was it a mental mistake? Was it a strategic mistake? You can use that to improve, and this is all part of the process. Make a mistake, improve, learn from it, improve on it. Don't just make a mistake and go, I won't do that again. Make a mistake, identify the weakness, improve on it, so that next time that happens, you don't make that mistake. And to be fair, just long term, this is going to be a far better gauge for you forever to see how you're trading. If you're ever at a point where that performance drops from saying 85, 88% like I'm at down to 65 again, I'm doing a lot of things wrong. So I need to go and say, okay, what am I screwing up on? Has something changed that means that I don't know what I'm doing so much in some trades? Am I getting too emotional based off of something? And you can use it as this constant way of reviewing at the end of each week. You know what? This week wasn't so good. I executed at 75% accuracy. What did I do wrong? Has this been boiling up for a few weeks? You sometimes go, you know what? I've been thinking more and more about my results recently. And today I finally snapped and I took a trade based off of results. Focus on performance weaknesses. So you're going to find trades quite often that in the moment you go, I'm not sure if this is my setup or not. I call these gray area trades. I'm very big on having black and white rules for what is and isn't a trade. And sometimes you get a trade and it's like, this isn't black nor white. It's a gray area trade. Use this as an opportunity to go, okay, how can I know if this is a trade or isn't a trade in the future? And maybe you have to simply say, I need to create a rule that this doesn't come up all that often, but I need to create a rule so that when it does, I don't take the trade or I do take the trade. And it's not going to be based off of results. It's going to be based off of, again, performance. So look back over previous trades that look like it. And if you haven't got any, probably just want to say, okay, I'm just not going to trade these. I'm going to make it a rule that if this happens, it's a no trade, for example. You're also going to find trades where you screwed up. Use these trades to understand why you mentally screwed up, right? Quite often, I used to do this a lot where I'd say, well, I took this really dumb trade today, and I know it was a dumb trade, so I don't need to worry about fixing it because I just won't do it again. That is probably the most toxic thought I used to have with trading, because I would keep on making that mistake, and I would keep on saying, well, when I'm a professional, I won't make that mistake. But the gap between where I was and professional trader, I wasn't doing anything to actually bridge that gap. The irony is, to bridge that gap, it was, don't make that dumb mistake. Go and figure out why you've made the dumb mistake, and then go and resolve it. And the way you do that is you either work on it with a coach like myself, or you go and do it on your own. Use something like the mental game of trading. Jared Handler is an incredible mental game coach. He goes through in his book a whole process that you can use to resolve your mental game weaknesses. But use the tracking of performance as a way to find where you are weak and go and do something about it. At the end of each week, go, okay, I took 10 trades this week. 6 of them were good, 4 of them were bad. What were the bad ones? One of them, okay, it's something I didn't really know about in my strategy. But the other 3 were revenge trades. Okay, read Jared's book on revenge trading. Find or find out why you get that revenge trading emotion coming in and resolve it. And if you're not sure, comment down below and be like, Nick, I struggle with this. Can you make a video on it? Sure. Or you can have a 30-minute 30-minute call with me, and we can just go through it and just open it all up and be like, well, could it be this? Sometimes it's very, very small things. Forget about the profit in the short term. Remember that big goal. We want to make a living, not $1,000. We want to make $1 million, not get our account from 5K to 6K. Okay, if you're focusing a lot on trying to get your account from 5 to 6K, 6 to 7K, every trade is going to be an emotional drag. You're like, come on, if this just needs to hit profit and I'll be at 7K. And I've never been that month before. The emotion that's building and how much you're trying to put on this winning trade is huge. Step back and go, my goal is to make $1 million, not get my account to 7K. I can't live off a 7K account. I need to get to 100K. This trade doesn't matter. What matters is making sure that every trade is giving me, is executed accurately to get to that bigger goal. Profit right now doesn't matter compared to execution. If you just keep on trading how you are, right, and you're not yet profitable, gonna be completely honest here, the approach you're taking hasn't worked before. Some people will have in their minds, and I was one of these people, and I think Russ will be the first to admit that he is also one of these people that will go, it's fine. I'll just figure it out. You know, I'll just stop taking those trades, and a couple of good trades, I'll feel it. I'll know what I'm doing. How long have you been saying that for? Yeah, I said it for years. I know. I looking back over the day, I know what I need to do for tomorrow. It's fine. I get it now, and then you don't do it. That approach hasn't worked, right? No, fine. You know, we're there now. It hasn't worked, so it's time to do something differently. It's time to actually change your approach and go, let's forget about the profit for the moment. Let's forget about it. And I know it's hard to say, yeah, forget about the losses you've made. But again, is your goal to make your losses back or to become a millionaire, to become a professional trader? If your goal is to become a professional trader, when you achieve that, the losses will have been made up. If your goal is to make the losses up, well, you're not going to be a professional trader, are you? Make sure that the short term is all about becoming better for the long term. And what I mean by that is if you have to take a month even out of trading, like I stopped trading for like 6 months to just go and do other things, build my personal wealth back up, take my head out of the context, stop being beaten back and forth, back and forth. You have to do that, fine. You know, Matt Diamond is a great example of this. He's a momentum scalp trader. He took 6 months off trading, came back, was fresh, began a whole new process. I did exactly the same. I took 6 to 9 months off. I came back. I didn't touch real money until I had got to a point where I was executing at a really high level. I was seeing the market completely differently because of it. If that's what, you know, for me, if you said to me, you take 6 months off, you come back with a different approach, and you're successful a year later, every single person watching this video who is not yet successful will take that. I can guarantee it. Okay? Make the short term, the next month, the next 2 months, the next 6 months, about being better for the long term. And that does not mean learn a new strategy. That means getting better at your execution. Get to a point where your next 50 trades are all about being as accurate as possible. And now we're on to paper trading. And I've put a question mark behind this because it's not always necessary. But I'm going to go through sort of like the pros of it. This is a stage where Russell has kind of, I would say, semi-accepted that he probably needs to drop to. I say drop to. It's definitely not dropping to. It needs to go to. And I'm going to go through why. So to completely contradict my whole dropping to, paper trading is not a step back. It feels like it. I even slipped up there and I said it feels like a step back. Of course it feels like it is, but it isn't. Right? We are not going when we're not saying I suck at trading so I have to paper trade. We're going, I'm not good enough yet to be successful at trading, so I need to protect my capital and focus on becoming really, really good at executing my edge. And the best way to do that is to see if you can do it when there's no stress involved or when there's no risk involved, right? If you can do it when there's no money at risk, okay, now let's see if you can do it when there is money at risk. Most people will use the excuse, I can't take paper trading seriously. That is absolutely fucking bullshit. If you are telling me right now that your career as a trader means so little to you that you can't go and paper trade for 2 or 3 weeks to get better at something, then you do not deserve to be a successful trader. I'm not saying it's the only way, but if your excuse is, I can't take paper money seriously, then 1, you're looking at paper trading all wrong, which we can go through, but 2, that tells me that you're more focused on trying to make some money back that you've lost than getting better. So don't look at paper trading as practice money. You've got to think more like an airplane pilot. An airplane pilot does not go in a simulator to go, oh, I'm just going to, do a casual flight across the country. That's not what they do it for. Maybe you do that on Flight Simulator at home, but a real airplane pilot, a profession of someone who has ambitions to be the captain of a Boeing 787 or whatever, a captain earning a large sum of money for a flagship airline. They go in a simulator to test their skills. They're spelt not that way, but they go in a simulator to test their skills and see how accurately they can diagnose and resolve problems. They are testing themselves in difficult scenarios. Do you really think that if a pilot said, oh, I can never take the simulator seriously enough, because it's not real people that if we crash they die. Do you really think they're going to be a pilot for very long? Of course they're not. They treat the simulator not as, oh, I've got a bunch of fake people in the back. They treat it as, if I'm in this scenario, how do I resolve it? How do I make sure I accurately diagnose the problem? I do the correct actions to bring the aircraft down safely. Okay? They use it to stretch their ability and become as accurate as possible when dealing with these scenarios. And that's what you need to see paper trading as. It's not about the money, because at the end of it, you just close the account. You're not going to reset the account. And even if you do, it doesn't even matter. The P&L of the paper trading means nothing, right? Just like the soul saved in the simulator account means nothing. What matters are the skills that you learn. What matters is, for a pilot, how well they can deal with an emergency situation. For you, it's how well you can execute your strategy. How accurately can you do it in a live market condition? Because here's the thing. If you can only do 5 or 6 out of 10 accurately and you go, oh, well, it's fine. Being completely honest, how the fuck can you expect to be accurate with real money when you've got more emotion coming in because there's real money on the line? You're not. And we can prove that by seeing, the track record of the people watching this who aren't making money. And I hope this doesn't come across as too harsh, but if you look back at your track record and you go, you know what? I've lost money for the past 6 months. Well, you've proved already that you cannot execute accurately. If you can't do it in the paper account, then you definitely can't. You already know you can't. So maybe get really good at paper trading where there is no money pressure. And then we can begin looking at real money again. And just as a side note, on my own journey, after testing a strategy for about 3-4 weeks, getting a lot of data, what I then did was I paper traded it. And I paper traded it until I had taken about 30 trades at an 80% plus accuracy. I did this, and then I traded tiny size. I traded like one micro contract. I was like, oh, if I lose a few $100s doing this, it doesn't really matter. Okay, I built the stress up a little bit. Then I paper traded again, kept on refining the rules, was putting the smallest amount of risk as possible on the table, either none or like $40. Once I got to a point where I was like, I'm executing it at 80% accuracy, that's when I tried to get funded. And when I did, I passed really easily. The reason was because I traded the challenge account with a high degree of accuracy, and my strategy did the rest. And this is how you want to trade. Get to a point where you are certain that you are trading an 80% plus accuracy rate, then go and trade. And if you continue to trade at that 80% plus accuracy rate, your strategy will do the rest. You become the person whose their job is to push the button as accurately as you can, and then you will watch as the profit builds up, hopefully. If your strategy is actually profitable, that is, of course. Anyway, so to recap, focus on your long-term goals. We're trying to make a living out of trading, not make $1,000 off of it. How are you going to make a living out of it? You have to be a highly disciplined, highly accurate, amazing at executions. You can make $1,000 by mistake. You can you can max out your leverage and make $1,000 in a few minutes. That's not going to make you a successful trader. Focus on the process, not the profit. Okay, if that's for the next 2-3 months, you go, you know what, I paper traded in 20 trades, I still wasn't at a good enough accuracy rate, fine. Keep on paper trading, save yourself some money, and get to a point where you are as good of a trader as you possibly can be before you start using real money again. And again, do not think about, well, if I could just make that money back. That's not the goal here. Track your performance, okay? Use that 1 or 0. Get to the end of 20 trades and go, you know what? I'm actually trading at a really high accuracy rate, and I've made money doing it, even if it's paper trading. Okay, now you can go and do it. If not, okay, half my trades were mistakes. Go and work on those. Use the tracking to improve, okay? Whether it's mental game or technical, whatever it is. Use a sim account to improve accuracy. Forget about profit, okay? Forget about making money. Be the pilot who doesn't care that they have to pay, or they're not making money by going in the simulator, right? They don't get paid per sim flight, right? They go in there to become the best pilot possible so that they can then be employed by an airline, or so that they can progress to become a captain of an airline, so that they know if they ever get in a difficult situation, they know what to do. And finally, just remember, you are doing the work today to be better in the future. The process that you develop now, the skills that you develop now are for the future. If you spend the next month just trying to make profit, you know, okay, I'm going to go into there, we're going to try to make money. That's what you've been doing for the past 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, and it hasn't worked. Why is this month going to be any different? And even if it is different and you pull out and you're massively green in March, great. The likelihood is you're not going to be in April, you're not going to be in May, and by the end of the year, you're going to be red, right? If instead you say for the rest of this month or for the next month and a half, next 2 months, I'm going to paper trade, I'm going to make sure that I am executing as accurately as possible, then when you are trading real money again, and you know that you execute at a high level, well, now you're at a point where you're going to actually start making money, right? It's normally quicker. You know, funnily enough, to spend the next month or two, like look at my journey. I spent a month, maybe more, paper trading and trading tiny size, then got funded, and within a couple of months, I'm trading 10 times the size that I would have been if I was just continuing to try to grow an account using the small size, right? Bit different because it's funding, obviously, but it's the same thing. If you have a strategy that is profitable and you're not making money out of it, it is quicker to say for the next month I'm going to work on myself to become the most accurate trader in my edge. I'm going to be the best trader at execution of this edge. For the rest of your life, you reap the rewards. So, slightly emotional video there because it's such an important topic to me. It's very close to me. I hope that Russell, you've watched this, you see it, you get inspired by it, and you use it. And everybody else out there who sees this, if you are a losing trader and you're kind of being lazy and just going, I'm just going to keep on trying, this is a bit of a wake-up call for you. If it hasn't been working for the last 6 months, the last year, that approach doesn't work. Change it and become a better trader. Thanks for watching till the end of the video. Just adding a quick piece in here to let you know what extra services I have to help you become a better trader. On my site, guidedtradingmeditations.com, you can find my new course, The Trading Blueprint, which gives you a full guide on how to create an edge, test it, start trading it, and scale up. There are sections included on how to find weaknesses in your trading and then how to resolve them, as well as many other bits of information that I've gathered in my years of experience. The aim of the course is to make you a fully independent trader so you don't need to pay ever-growing monthly fees to be in a chat room. There's no specific edge needed. You can use this in any market with any trading style. If you're at a stage in your trading where you're struggling and would prefer a more in-depth look at your own personal weaknesses and ongoing support, you can also book one-on-one coaching with me on the site. There's a cool breakdown on the screen right now, so pause the video and read through it, and if it's something you're interested in, check it out. There's a ton of other content on the site that I'm really proud of and I've really enjoyed making, so if you're interested, please check it out. I'm sure there'll be something on there that can help your trading. You can reach me on Twitter. My handle is in the description down below. You can send me a DM if you'd like any more information, and make sure to like and subscribe to stay up to date with future videos.